Show me a
Good evening, nerds, and welcome to episode 54 of Geeklife, your source for all the nerdy news you need to know. I'm your host with the headband, Jake the Great, aka Gonzo. Joining me today is a man that needs no introduction, but is gonna get this one anyway. It's Comrade Kev, aka Toddly Awesome. How are you doing tonight, Kev?
Doing fantastic, Mr. Jake. The sun's setting here, so, you know, we're in for some nice evening show vibes. Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know why I said that. I didn't like that. I'm just describing outside.
That was a great description of outside.
Thanks. I'm good at describing the obvious if it isn't obvious.
And quiet on the set, it is the LeBron of Bronze. Bronwyn, the warrior princess, is here. How are you doing tonight, Bron? Or this evening, I guess, because it's even more daylight where you're at, probably.
I'm doing wonderful. The sun is still shining for a few more hours. So that is what it's like over here on the West Coast. Doing great. I am streaming live from above an art exhibit right now.
That's awesome.
So that's where
what kind of art are we above right now?
We are above a mixed media of visual artists, pole dancers, and some video content is happening as well.
Oh, fuck yeah. Look at that. We're getting cultured live.
Yeah.
I mean, in proximity. You know what I mean? Like
In proximity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adjacent. Culture adjacent.
Cultured adjacent.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, how are you guys surviving, the current times, I guess? You know, we used to say, how are you guys surviving the apocalypse? I guess if the apocalypse happened, we all lived. At least we did anyway. But how are you guys dealing with things? Any new shows, any games, any movies you've seen recently that you'd like to talk about before we get right into the nitty gritty of all that nerdy news?
Oh man, so much content. Yeah, I've seen Batman twice now.
Nice.
Why?
Yeah. Because I love it.
It was that good. Yeah.
It was that good. Yes, seen that twice. Halo. We're gonna talk about Moon Knight. Getting back into not back into. I never played it, but playing some Cyberpunk since the Redux.
Woo.
It's pretty sweet. I must say, it's what the game should have been at launch. It's unfortunate that it wasn't, because I think a lot of people are missing out, because it left such a bad taste in people's mouths. But you know, I've been pleasantly surprised. It's a girthy game, but it's fun. It's good.
Girthy game. It is. It's a fun one though. I played it back in the day on PC, and I had a PC that was capable of playing it. Small flex.
Yeah.
But no, like now that they've made some of the updates, and the fact that it was only like $5 on the physical copy, that's crazy. At least at some places. But like definitely, I'm glad people are getting back into Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And what about you, Bron? Any new shows? Any games? You back into Cyberpunk?
I want to play some Cyberpunk. I haven't got the chance yet, but I actually started watching season 3 of Ozark, which has been really good on Netflix. A little late to it, but started binging that. And I guess the most recent movie I saw was Batman. We talked about that on the last show, so I'm up to date on that, all that's going on. Another cool movie that I saw recently was Death on the Nile. Did you guys get a chance to check that out yet?
I've been wanting to.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like Agatha Christie, kind of inspired by her short stories or her novels.
Nice. Yeah. No, I just went and saw. I think that's actually on HBO Max though, or on one of them. It just came out on one of the streaming services, and so I may check it out. But I just got back from Everything Everywhere All at Once last night. Saw that one in theaters. The new A24 film. Holy shit, that movie was really good. I think there was parts where I haven't heard people clap in a theater in a long time, and people were clapping after certain fight scenes. At one point, my fiance Jessica and the girl next to her were weeping,
Wow.
and I mean I was crying a little bit too. And so, but
It was
like
yeah, Jessica and the person
Jessica
next to her.
and the person next to her, not me. But no, like there was multiple people crying openly in this theater, laughing, everything. Like the full fucking range of emotions happened in that movie. So I've been hyping it up ever since. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year so far. And so a lot of big praise there. So, but we've got a great show planned for you all. Let's get right into it with those headlines. But first, Doodle, do that dandy.
Cue music.
Tonight at 11.
In other news,
Oh, Braun's got the first story. Or if you want me to read it.
Hey,
There you go. Boom.
I'm here. All right. First up, Coke debuts a new flavor that tastes like pixels to appeal to gamers. Coca-Cola is trying to cut a bigger chunk out of the gamer market by introducing a new flavor that will allegedly taste like pixels. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Bite makes the intangible taste of the pixel tangible. Oyana Vlad, Senior Director of Strategy at Coca-Cola, told CNN, Zero Sugar Bite is the second new flavor from Coca-Cola Creations, which is tasked with coming up with innovative and marketable flavors for the company. Trying to win over gamers, Coke debuted Bite in the metaverse via Fortnite in late March on an island called Pixel Point. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Bite will be available to buy online starting May 2nd. So I want to know who asked for this and what do you think pixels taste like?
Yeah, no, those are both very good questions.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone asked for this. Is
No.
the first is the first one, and the fuck I don't know. I mean, now I'm gonna have to buy it because now I have to know what pixels taste like.
That's why they fucking did it. They're like, oh, it
Yeah.
tastes like pixels. Shut the fuck up. You're like, you know why you said like you just trying to get me to taste, and it's gonna work because I'm like you.
I'm
Not
just like
myself.
I'm like imagining when you like used to blow into like the N64 cartridges, and sometimes you would like get a little in your mouth. Like that's what I
Dust,
imagine
yeah,
the
like
pixel tasting like.
That copper
Dust.
dust kickback. Yeah.
That's better than what I was gonna say. I like your. I was gonna say it's probably just little tiny sugar particles that they haven't melted down yet. That's just floating around in there.
Or
Oh,
it
man.
secretly shoots pop rocks into your throat, and then just regular Coke is followed. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then you get that
do that,
fizzle.
dude. Do
You know what I mean?
Ooh, wait, that's exciting. I like that.
That's
You
what I
can't do that,
assume
man.
pixels
You'll
taste
die.
like.
That's science. That's just science. Coke's
think
been
that's-
doing this weird thing lately, though. Like they're on this crazy, I guess, resurgence. They just Bill Nye has recently come under flack for coming on, signing off as actually kind of being a spokesperson for some recycling campaign that they're on,
Yeah.
saying that Cokies, blah 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 blah. Yeah, so they're trying to make some moves apparently, trying to capitalize.
genius-
on-
The genius thing is they could make it taste like anything.
Yeah.
That's
'cause we
true.
don't.
Who's to say that that's not what pixels taste like?
Who's to say?
That's true. It could just be Coke, like.
Yeah, very much. And I mean, is the marketing? Speaking of Coke, though, is the Coke marketing team on Coke? Like, did they just get an endless supply of cocaine to come up with these crazy ideas and just keep pumping them out? And what's up with the metaverse and every company wanting to get into it? Like, is that really still going to be around? Like, are you guys like?
I don't
Because
know.
Jessica was about to buy our apartment in the metaverse the other day. She found it.
What? Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, the
I
land.
mean, you need somewhere to live when all of this is gone
Sure.
and all we
When
are.
Thoughts or just thoughts and computers?
Exactly. Yeah. Once we get uploaded into the matrix,
Sure.
and it just
But then
goes
why
to-
would you need an apartment?
No, that's
That's
true. It
awesome.
was actually what was crazy is it had them all like blocked off, and like the part that was Target and stuff like that was already bought, and so we were like, did Target buy it? And then so that got me to thinking, because I'm a capitalist. Like, well, if the fucking companies are buying their land in the metaverse, then I need to start buying my land in the metaverse.
That's what's scary to me is like there's
But this is just my
actual
apartment,
land
so
that like because I've been seeing that like people are buying houses in the metaverse. I'm like, what? Like, okay, so let's just paint a picture here. World's ending. Our only escape is to upload our consciousness to machines so we can live in a simulation.
yeah.
So you mean to tell me that simulation was just Earth? Like I'm gonna simulate myself in my same apartment, in the same
Yeah.
clothes. Like
Yeah.
it could have been anything else. But
So
you
we're
just
gonna
replicated the exact same thing.
we're gonna jump
we
into the
all feel like
metaverse,
dragons,
and
everyone
there's
have
still gonna be
wings.
homeless people. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like, yeah, that's at least one
Oh,
problem
man.
we should be able to fix in the metaverse, right? Like,
Oh
like,
my god.
but nah,
'cause
people gotta buy
poverty's
it.
hard.
Yeah. But I know we got more than just that. What's our next story,
Oh,
Braun?
man.
Our next story, this is something that I am super excited about. I can't wait to tell you all. Back to the Future's DeLorean is returning as an EV,
Hell yeah.
but I'm thinking it probably can't travel through time. Just
Damn
probably.
it. Not
The
yet,
DeLorean, a car made famous in part by its ability to travel through time in the movie Back to the Future, is making a comeback as an electronic vehicle, and now we've gotten a sneak peek at it. The DeLorean Motor Company shared a new image of the next generation car and teased that it will be properly revealed on August 18th, 2022. Unfortunately, this is a concept car, so don't expect to be able to buy one. DMC will officially unveil the vehicle at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance event. Have you guys had a chance to check this out yet?
No, I mean, I saw the picture, especially the one we have for the thing. What? Oh, what? I fucked it up. It's in this area. It's in this area over here. Over here. Whatever. But no, I had a chance to check out that photo. But like they said, that's about all they gave. There was a tweet they put out, basically saying they had this new electric vehicle. It's coming. Like kind of a thing. But the fact that it's just a concept car, like what a cock tease. Bummer you can't buy one of these. Like what? Why even make it if it's just a concept? I guess to see if people are
You
into
did
it.
at first, yeah. It's just like
yeah.
I feel like it'll be a real thing. It's just like this. We
Gotta
can't get
generate
it
the
yet.
buzz.
Maybe in 5 years. But
Yeah.
I'm so stoked because even the DeLorean of the past felt like it was something of the future. So this, especially with the electronic vehicle aspect, is kind of taking us into the future in a new way.
This makes sense. They were already ahead of their time in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited about it. I think we need more EVs, just in general. And I say that as someone who like loves cars.
We need more
Just-
affordable EVs.
Yes. Like I don't want all EVs to look the same. Like I don't want our cars to be fucking iPhones and Androids, where you either have one or two cars. Like like. I
Keep a
like
bunch
I
of
like
different-
a little diversity, like oh wow, that's something, that's cool. You drive a DeLorean, or you drive a whatever the fuck, like EV Camaro. It's not like I would like to see some
Whatever
auto
Ford's is.
diversity in EV. Right, like you can have, and like why do all EVs have to look like they're an EV? Like just swap the engine with batteries and then have it look like a fucking car.
I've thought about
That's
that
a different tangent for another show.
Because because they did that with the fucking Ford did that with the Mustang. Like they're like, this is
Oh,
the fully
God.
electric Mustang,
No, it's not.
and then they made the body of it look fucking
It's a-
ugly.
It's an
and, like,
SUV.
Changed it up, yeah, and it was just like, what? Like, why would you
Yeah.
do that? Like, just give me an electric Mustang, bro. Like that's what
Yeah.
I'm asking for. Like I would
Right.
love that. Like
Well, I
or
think the
just make it
funniest
a-
thing is the electric Porsche, which because Porsche is all about having that like revving
Yeah.
engine, but you don't get that with an electric vehicle. So they created that sound anyways. So you still hear the engine in there, but it's all fake.
still gives you that
I-
rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives
I mean,
you
I-
like you feel the rumble, you hear the sound.
I get that because like I feel like
Yeah.
as a car, like you have to have your car make some noise for like visually impaired people, right? Like it can't
Uh-huh.
just driving around like silence vehicles. That's kind of dangerous. Even if
I
people
don't
aren't
think that was
visually
their intention, though.
I don't think so either, but I think EVs should make some type of noise. Like I think Hondas or some car, it sounds like a UFO. It's not the best sound. It sounds
Yeah,
very
like
weird.
the little buzz. If you're going like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
certain,
yeah. So I mean, I think they have to make some sound. But yeah, I think that's interesting. I wonder if how like more cars are gonna do that. We're just I wish you could make your own sound. Like it would just be me just going.
Yeah, you hit the gas and it just starts, just being you making the rumble.
Yeah.
So I was riding in my friend's Tesla in Joshua Tree. We were like going to camp out late at night, super dark, and in the middle of him driving his car, he like pulls out a pair of night vision goggles and then puts them on and then turns the headlights off and he goes, "I see better this way." And you were like zipping through the desert in a car that you can't hear and there's like no headlights on.
Wait.
With night vision goggles on.
Yes.
He just has night vision goggles in there for that purpose.
He just
Could you
always
ma-
has night vision goggles.
But is that just for driving at night in the desert, or is that just
No, that
like
he
driving
actually
at night?
uses them to try to track aliens. Because you can see aliens better with night vision goggles, because you can see more than your naked eye perceives.
Oh, I have
yeah.
some night vision goggles.
No, like in the sky. Yeah, you
And
probably
look up
I've
in the
never-
sky. You should totally go track aliens with it. Every time I put them on, I've seen a UFO.
Dude, we live too close to DC. I ain't trying to get those secrets.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I think that works out in, like LA out west. Walking around with night vision goggles in DC is gonna get a lot of different attention. That I might not be on the show anymore.
Like you looking like some special ops, or something.
If
Kev goes
like I'm
missing,
trying to
we know why.
Yes. Yeah. Are
was
you an
looking for
insurrectionist? No.
UFOs.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of UFOs, we're not really, but I know we still have more headlines this week.
More
Bro, what is
headlines.
up next on the headlines for this week?
Our next story, Severance, is renewed for a second season.
Ow.
Severance will return for more at Apple TV Plus, which has renewed the workplace thriller starring Adam Scott for a second season. The series comes from creator and writer Dan Erickson and director and executive producer Ben Stiller. The renewal news Wednesday comes ahead of the season 1 finale titled The We Are, which will drop Friday, April 8th on Apple TV Plus. So I guess it did drop. It's already been April 8th.
Yeah.
So it dropped 2 days ago.
This Friday.
This Friday.
This
Oh
Friday.
yeah, this past Friday. In Severance, Mark Scott leads a team at Lumen Industries whose employees have undergone a severance procedure which surgically divides their memories between their work and personal lives. This daring experiment in work-life balance is called into question as Mark finds himself at the center of an unraveling mystery that will force him to confront the true nature of his work and of himself. Have you guys been able to check out Severance yet?
Fuck yeah.
Not I, but it's definitely on my list.
I have seen it, and I've been telling everybody about it, and I put this in here just so I could tell more people about it. Like, story-wise, I think it was awesome. It got renewed for a second season because there's still a lot of shit left untold. But the fact that this was produced, and I think like a lot of it was written by fucking Zoolander.
Yeah.
Like, I know.
That's what,
Well, I know Ben Stiller's more than Zoolander. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want to belittle, Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
So like, and Meet the Fockers and all those other great, like there's Ben Stiller's been in a lot of awesome shit.
Bangers.
Don't get me wrong, right? Like he's come
Yeah,
out with a
yeah.
lot of bangers, but like, this is a completely different thing. Like don't get me wrong. There are some like nice, little moments where you will laugh, right? But it's overall, it's like a sci-fi kind of drama kind of like whatever. But like, oh man, such a good show. I cannot hype it enough. Cape binged it. Our producer Cape, actually. I sent the trailer in the Nerd Herd in the Discord. Shout out the Discord, by the way. Join it if you have not. But I sent the trailer in the Discord just to be like, watch this trailer and then tell me you don't want to watch the first episode. And Cape was like, I do want to watch the first episode, and then immediately binged the whole season. So
It looks pretty lit, pretty crazy. Like it's definitely some like
Just
I'm
think about it
still
for a
like
second.
behind on some shows, but that's definitely on my list. Like, because I seen the
Without
trailer, I seen the preview. It looks crazy.
Yeah, without giving a spoiler, I can just tell you, like, it's essentially they go through, like, like Braun was saying in the synopsis, is basically just an implant chip, and once they go down a certain level, like on an elevator in their business, they switch out to a different personality altogether, and that's called their innie, and then they have an innie and an outie. Well, the innie has none of the outie's memories besides like
gosh.
normal like motor function and shit like that. They don't know like their name, they don't know really like if they have children, a wife, anything like that, right? And then once you leave work, all of your work memories are completely purged, so you don't have any stress from that work day, like all that stuff or whatever. So that's
you can't share any company secrets.
That's exactly why they do it, because when you're working on like top secret shit, it's basically like that your innie knows all of this stuff and is seeing all of it, but your outie knows nothing. As soon as they go up the elevator, it's like you were just asleep for 8 hours.
So is the drama in this that there's a individual who's like innie and outies are merging so that they can access those memories? Is that the hook?
That's kind of like one part of it is like reseverance or unseverance or something like that. But then there's also like a lot of like just ethnical things, because one of the people's, and not to give too many spoilers or anything, but like obviously, like if you're just thinking about that scenario, there are gonna be people's innies that don't want to work. They don't want to do that. They're like, why the fuck am I in here? This is a prison. Because then when they leave, they basically just wake up and coming out of that elevator again.
So they're always in
there. And then going to an elevator and then coming back out of that elevator and working. God. You know what I mean? It's like that's your day every day. All you feel like they had a whole like little quote in it that was like, I try to focus on the effects of sleeping rather than the lack of sleeping. Because you come in, you come out of that elevator feeling refreshed after you went in feeling so like tired, right? And it's like, but you never get to actually sleep. You just get to feel like the positive effects of sleeping. And so like that's just such a weird like
the outies are just having the time of their lives.
In a way, yeah. But then you got to think also, what if your innie tries to hurt themselves? What if they do something in the office? You don't get to know. All you get to like, maybe you get a note that says you fell. You know what I mean?
Damn.
You never know what happens. Or what if they hurt you?
Oh my gosh! Wait, this sounds so good. Wow. I don't have Apple TV Plus, but I'm gonna find a way.
What if you start a relationship while in work, and that leads to other things like relations?
Ooh, and then you're like, oh my god.
And then those relations lead to what sometimes relations lead to, and then now your outie is wondering why they're fucking pregnant. And so like, there's so many there's a lot of crazy.
Yeah.
Shit. It's an insane show. And so
it does sound pretty wild.
Yeah.
Wait, you're not supposed to have relations at work.
Yeah, there you go, Braun. Yeah, like
there you go.
Who would do that?
Who would ever do that? I've never done that.
But that is not all the news we have. Braun, what's our last, or not our next to last headline in this week?
Our next to last headline: Pinterest becomes the first platform to completely ban climate misinformation. Pinterest is rolling out a new policy to eradicate climate change misinformation across both user-generated content and ads. The new policy removes content that denies the existence or impacts of climate change, the human influence on climate change, or that climate change is backed by scientific consensus. It will also ban content that contradicts well-established scientific consensus, misrepresents scientific data, or misleads users about public safety emergencies like natural disasters and extreme weather events. Damn. What do you guys think about this, about this move from Pinterest, what it means?
I mean, it's sad that we have to do it, but it's good. I think it's nice that the techie giants are keeping
being responsible.
Yeah, keeping at least some misinformation at bay. Even if it is about like, I love that last thing about like public safety emergencies or natural disasters and stuff. Like people being like, I don't believe that hurricane really happened. You know?
Oh my god.
They're just trying
I mean-
to get us to leave so they can come in and plant their government seeds. And I'm not
Like,
evacuating.
I ain't evacuating shit. They ain't get me out of my
Yeah.
house. You know, like I ain't listening to nothing. As a matter of fact, I get my news off Pinterest, and I just.
I've never gone to Pinterest for news before.
I know, man.
I didn't know Pinterest had news. I thought it was just like ideas.
That's the flip side of it. Is like who is like, and here's my dress, and then here's the shoes I'm gonna wear, and then here's climate change misinformation. And then like they're putting together their Pinterest board. It's like here's my mood board for 2022. I'm gonna get a Lambo, and climate change isn't real. And so like. But anyway, like that's crazy. I mean, should others follow suit though? I guess that's kind of like the big thing. Do we think that more of social media giants should try to, at least when it comes to, I guess, things like scientifically proven climate change, or what does it say? Climate change is backed by scientific consensus, so they know that or we have a scientific consensus that climate change is real. So like, should others at least try to like follow suit and keep misinformation off of the platforms?
I think so.
I think I can see
Because,
an argument for it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, I was gonna say because I feel like climate change, like you can make the argument for like political misinformation, but the loss is your candidate or the person that you didn't want to win doesn't win. Which again, I'm for the vote of like just checking misinformation in general, but just specifically with climate change, I feel like this is something that you can't like miss the boat on and be like, oh damn, too bad we let all that misinformation slip. If only we would have done something about it sooner. Oh well.
Yeah.
Sorry Florida. Like so I feel like there's something like even like all right, like a lot of people argue against it, like, well, you're gonna silence, you're infringing on free speech, which legally they're not, but let's just use this argument, right? Let's just say, okay, at best, let's say science is wrong in this, and climate change isn't real, and they silence your misinformation about it. Nothing's happened to you. Like they're not doing anything to you to gain something from actively like helping you to like not participate in climate change. The plus side is that we can stop misinformation about planets. So I don't see like it's like a risk versus reward. Like the risk is if we let the misinformation go, then it could be a hindrance to actually preventing climate change. The reward is if we stop it, we can. This is another W on the battlefield, right? On the flip side of that, the risk is I can't talk about the Earth being flat, and my fossil fuels aren't as damaged, or my V8 truck isn't damaging the atmosphere as much as you know what I mean. Like it's just silly to like have that sort of hill to die on. Like there's no one's taking your cars, no one's. Like, yeah.
I get what you're saying, because like if it's something you so militaristically don't believe in, right?
Yeah.
And think it's fake, then having your post or whatever the fuck you're sharing getting removed about it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like,
no. I guess. I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but I just whatever. It's something that's like a censorship or kind of like infringing on free speech, I get upset about it a little bit, especially because there are satirical pieces which I think can be conveyed or like by some sort of bot or algorithm to be misinformation, but really it's just this exaggerated perspective which gets people to see how ridiculous something is, like some sort of like Onion article, which I think a bot would be like, oh no, misinformation, let's get rid of this, when in reality it's like an artistic approach, an interpretation on this like a stance that isn't against something but is just putting itself against it to show how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, so 100%. It's just one of those where like satire, it's got to be like, we got to be able to take satire as its own different thing, right? And I think it just depends on how it's projected, or how it's not projected, how it's presented, right? Like if it's presented as fact and like it's supposed to be, but then also like, I don't know, like I think some things are so outrageous that it's hard to believe, right? Like if you saw a news article that's like Kim Kardashian calls us climate change. It's like, it's like, nah, that's a little outrageous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if
Right.
Kim's, she be doing a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's causing climate change, right? But like,
Yeah.
then that's like something that would that get taken down, or like would it?
Yeah.
Is it not considered misinformation? Yeah. So I get that whole censorship thing as well, but we'll just have to see. I like that somebody's doing at least something around climate change, and I think more social media giants, they'll start to step up if it starts to affect the dollars. Let's be honest.
And Bron's right, because like if you censor too many people, or if you start just just doing like nuking everything, right? Then the problem with that is that you can kind of make these people martyrs, right? Where it's like, oh, they must be on to something if they're getting banned. Like that's the other thing. So I think it's like it's this weird sort of balance where you have to be careful. I think you have to do it within moderation, right? Like it's like the reason why we have like FDA, and like you have people who study and become experts on stuff to advise the public on things, and information being one of them, right? Like our brains, this might be a whole nother, but our brains aren't meant to like absorb all this information, be able to disseminate everything biasly, and like no one has time to go out here and be like, well, let's see if climate, like let's go and look at the facts about climate. Like no one has the time to go read all these these peer review papers and stuff like that. So it's very easy to be persuaded. Like one well-crafted edited video and some ominous music in the background, and you can convince anybody of anything. So, but at the same token, you don't want to enable people's like suspicions already, because people are already suspicious of like big corporations and the man and stuff like that, especially when censorship's involved, because like, well, if they're silencing them, then they must be onto something.
100%.
Yeah.
But shifting gears into our last story of the night.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a feel-good story, and I feel like besides tech giants, that's kind of how we need to end it, at least on the headlines for the week, right?
Yeah.
Well, before we go, is there anything else? Bron, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I'm good.
Cool. Yeah. No, I think it's definitely, I think we could do a whole deep dive on that censorship thing.
Yeah. It's not as black and white.
Yeah, no, it isn't. Yeah. But our last story, and because of it, it's a little bit closer to home, I'm going to take this one. Enterprise, Alabama student signs first esports scholarship in school history. History is made at Enterprise High School as the first Wildcat ever signs an esports scholarship. I think his name's Dalton. That's a fun way of spelling Dalton, Mom. But Dalton Bradley is the captain of the Wildcats Rocket League team, the current #1 team in the state. In the fall, Bradley will attend the University of Montevallo. Right now, the Enterprise Rocket League team is one of few undefeated teams statewide, and I didn't even know there was multiple teams statewide in Alabama. So, go Bama, I guess. But Bradley hopes to use the signing day as an opportunity to promote esports and take the Wildcats to the state championship before joining the Montevallo team in the fall.
Man.
I had to do this one because it's so close to my hometown. I love this story. It shows kids that the video games are more than an option than just a hobby. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a larger Rocket League kind of competitive scene in Alabama that I didn't even know about. And so that's just one of our last headlines for the night, and I thought it was a nice little feel-good story. And let's but we're still in company time here, so let's head on over to the water cooler and let's talk about some Moon Knight. Doodle, do that dandy. Best intro in history. Wait, did it have the sound?
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Nice. Moon Knight is a miniseries created by Jeremy Slater for Disney Plus, based on the Marvel Comics featuring the characters of the same name. Also Moon Knight, right? It is the 6th television series in the MCU to be produced by Marvel Studios, sharing continuity with the films of the franchise. But before we get into that nitty-gritty stuff, we actually made something special for all of you guys that are wondering, who the fuck is Moon Knight? Caper Doodle, roll that tape!
Who the was Moon Knight, going by many names from Stephen Grant or Jake Lockley, mainly due to dealing with his undiagnosed dissociative personality disorder for years. We're going to focus on his main persona throughout the comics, Mark Spector. Being a boxer, marine, and mercenary, Spector wasn't really born until he died near a statue of Khonshu, the Egyptian god of the moon, and became the living avatar of the god. Appearing first in Werewolf by Night number 32 in 1975, he was in many issues before getting his own run, being characters like Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, Hulk, and even defeating the Merc with the Mouth himself, Deadpool. Some call him Marvel's Batman because of his many toys, from armored weapons, costumes, vehicles, and other similarities like being rich and creeping in the shadows. But he has many differences. For one, he's an all-white because, unlike Bats, he wants his enemies to see him coming. A formidable opponent, Taskmaster, was once quoted in the comics that he hated fighting Moon Knight because once he copied his fighting style, he quickly realized that Moon Knight rather take a punch than dodge it. Ouch.
Well, now that you have a little background, that was awesome. Great job, Cape. Everybody who put that together, like, little kudos to the team. Look at that. Yeah. You're welcome for that quality content, everybody who's tuning in right now. But we've gotten 2 episodes so far. The first one was the goldfish problem, and the second one was Summon the Suit. Both I've really thoroughly enjoyed. But how about you guys? How are you digging Moon Knight so far? Have you both had a chance to check it out?
Yes, I watched it today, and I've always been like, I know of Moon Knight because I played Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I thought it was super cool, but I didn't know shit about it. I still don't, right? Until Cape. Thanks, Cape. So like, I'm kind of excited because I think I'm kind of going into this blind, like, you know, knowing of Moon Knight, but not necessarily knowing his story and his backstory. Because I was super confused, like, what the fuck was going on? I'm like, whoa, wait, there's a dude in his head, or is that the dude? Is that Moon Knight? And then you see the guy, like, you know, these aren't spoilers by any means, but you know, and you see the Egyptian moon god. I'm like, oh fuck, is that Moon Knight? Like, who? Yeah. So I'm pretty stoked. Yeah, and I like what they're doing. I like how they're kind of touching on like mental health issues. That's a nice little undertone that they're throwing in there. But just like Oscar Isaac's really killing it in this so far.
And what were you gonna say, Ron?
No, I agree. I only had the chance to watch the first episode, but I was completely unfamiliar with Moon Knight before this, and before seeing that lovely video that Kate put together. And just going into it blind, I'm excited to see like what happens, and I have very just open expectations for it.
Awesome. No, I think it was one of those. And Nelly pointed out something in the chat that this was the first Marvel show that had the responsibility of introducing a character without a movie first. And so I think that's a pretty interesting, like, I didn't even think about that really watching the first 2 episodes. But yeah, really, if you, this character has no background other than the show for a lot of people, unless you're kind of like into comics and everything, and or play like Marvel Alliance, you know, or any, or any type of, because I think he's appeared in a few Marvel things, but never like really in the MCU or anything yet. And so. You know, I think the first 2 episodes have done a really good job of kind of introducing us, but oh man, I feel like they're about to really blow that door wide open. We kind of touched on this, but how have you guys been feeling about Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke? Ethan Hawke obviously being the bad guy with the cool little fucking gator cane and everything. How have they been in your opinion? How have you felt about you know, both of these actors and their portrayals of the characters? And Kev, we'll start with Ron. Yeah,
just like
Ron was ready.
All-star casting, like, come on, these guys are legendary. They're incredible actors, and I could watch Oscar Isaacs do anything, and I just love the way that no matter what role he's in, it's almost like unrecognizable, like how he transforms himself into a role, just like through the mannerisms of the character, and just the way that he like puts off his energy is just totally unrecognizable. And I feel like Ethan Hawke, not so much. He's always Ethan Hawke, like doing something, but like I'll also watch Ethan Hawke do something. And I think that like having these 2 very legendary actors, but like clearly from 2 different like generations of acting. You got like the kind of like older, more seasoned Ethan Hawke, and then Oscar Isaacs, who has just been like completely blowing up in the recent years with his abilities. So I love them in these roles and just excited for more. What do you think, Kev?
No, I agree. Like, Oscar Isaac's fantastic. Like, I had the, like you said, he really transforms into his roles. Like, I had to Google after I watched the 2 episodes if he was British or not, And apparently I wasn't the only one who was asking that question.
No, that's
It like
it's a
auto
good question.
I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? He's British? He's not. But you know, like
Isn't it?
that's just the kind of the sort of the skill of his acting, right? Like and he's really playing like three different people at once, which is kind
Yeah.
of phenomenal. So I'm like, yeah, I'm super stoked. You know, going for. I was really excited about it when it was launched, just because, like I said, I always thought Moon Knight seemed pretty cool. I didn't know shit about him, so I feel like this is gonna like kind of, you know, give me what I didn't know I was looking for.
Yeah, no, and I think you know, Oscar Isaac actually said that he took this part because they said that Moon Knight wouldn't be a part of the larger MCU overall, right? That they kind of like, you know, they just wanted to do this limited series, which I think they already have pretty much announced it's a limited series. But do you guys believe that bullshit, or do you
I
think we'll
hope
see
not.
Moon Knight? Because Oscar Isaac, I mean, we're only 2 episodes in, but I think, you know, this has been one of the better Marvel shows I've seen on
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed both episodes very thoroughly, and I really enjoy the character of Moon Knight so far, and I'm already wanting more. So the fact that they're
Yeah.
saying this is a limited series, it's not going to, you know, like do it. Do you guys believe that bullshit, or do you think we'll see him in a Marvel movie?
I don't think if it's popular, if it like blows up and it's super popular, I think they'll change. If that is true, what they said, I'm sure they'll change their stance on that. Like, you know, at the end of the day, it's about making that money, right? So if
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac's gonna bring in the ticket sales, they're gonna put them up on the big screen.
Yeah, no, they will 100%. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here for it.
Hey, Octo, sorry.
Oh no, they're good.
I have a visitor. Oh yeah, I'm streaming right now. It's all good. So I think that it has the potential of going on to be part of the like larger MCU and to be a TV show, or is it being a film, just depending on how well this show does.
Yeah.
You know, because if they do get that attention and that fan love, like they're gonna want to bring him in. They also have to have Oscar Isaac's kind of support though, because like he is the actor, and if this is something that drew him to it, and if he's taking on other bigger roles beyond it, depending on his scheduling, they might not be able to. But if they offer enough money, I'm sure he'll change his mind. So they,
Yeah, true.
That's true.
But
so yeah, fan support and Oscar Isaac being on board, they have a movie.
100%. Did either of you guys ever get to watch Legion on FX? You know, because this isn't the first time that Marvel's kind of dipped its toes into like kind of the neurodivergent or like the multiple personalities, you know, like kind of a character or whatever. Did either of you ever see that series? It wasn't made by Marvel. It was on FX. Obviously, it's
I
based off of
haven't
the Marvel
seen it.
character Legion. It had Aubrey Plaza.
No, I hadn't get a chance to
No,
see
I
it.
know
I
of
actually
it.
have heard of it.
Yeah,
I didn't know it
haven't
was part
watched
of the comic world though.
No, it's really good. I definitely suggest check it out. It was kind of one of the first ones because I've always loved this idea of like characters with multiple personality disorder and like how that would play out with superheroes. Right now, obviously, schizophrenia is one of those things where it's a very small portion of the population, kind of a thing. You know, the percentage of that, and so then when you add the percentage of people that would have powers, especially given like you know how most superhero things how it plays out, where you know it's a very limited few. It's always been like an interesting thing though if somebody did. And so, you know, I think Moon Knight has been a really cool kind of like character in that aspect, right? And how do you guys think the multiple personalities would play out? I'm not very familiar with the comics, and I know that our little breakdown didn't go too much into it. Does he have any more than the two? Does anybody know? Kate.
Oh, I feel like there's one lurking, or at least another one lurking in there.
Maybe.
Hey,
But
hit us
my
up in
thing
the
is,
chat. Let us know if there's more than two. He has three. Oh, okay. So we've got somebody to meet.
So what I was confused at, and I'm trying to figure out, is that like, is Mark Spector is he did he just forget who he was and just basically somehow his mind just rewired itself to became a completely different person? Is that what's going on here? And then his old self, his old mind is just remnants, like trying to, you know, get back in a way. Is that what happened?
So I think they're like they're split. It's kind of the split thing, right? Like with Oh man, the name of the movie is fucking Split. I can't even think of that guy's name.
I get what you're saying.
But it's
Okay.
kind of like it's a way to cope. It's like
Right.
they break
And
off
for
and
something
kind of like
traumatic.
yeah, it's like
Right.
something traumatic and like so then he has a branch personality, right? So then, but I think like
Right.
they, I think like Spectre wanted to hide it
Mhm.
from I think what is it Mark? Is that the
Yeah.
other one? Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
you know he wanted to hide it from one another, kind of a thing. And so
Yeah.
I think you know you have your main personality, which is Spectre, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
he has his branch ones that I think he kind of like was trying to shield from the fact that there's multiple ones or something. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like just kind of letting them live their life, really. But then
Mhm.
again, I don't know.
Because what's crazy is like
I've
I
never
felt
read.
bad for Steven because I'm like, damn, he's just gonna like not exist.
Yeah.
It's like a cyberpunk situation, you know? You're like,
Oh,
damn,
it
Johnny
is. Yeah.
Silverhand. Like,
Yeah, goddamn, Johnny Silverhand, you trying to just make me not exist anymore, bro? Like, yeah,
yeah.
no, it is. Even like that is kind of one of the things. Like, but I don't know if he can just make him go away once he's there, kind of a thing.
Okay.
Either, you know, like I think he's always gonna kind of be there. So,
Yeah.
but shifting gears into the other big nerd show right now, and I know this is like the water cooler on Moon Knight, but we got to talk about it at least for a second. Either you guys watched any Halo
I've watched the first two. I haven't seen this Thursday's yet.
this Thursday? Braun, have you had a chance to
Yeah.
watch any?
I have not.
Well, then
I
I'll
have-
keep it spoiler free, unless you're
You
a
can
huge
spoil
fan
it
of,
for me.
unless you're a
I
huge
don't-
fan
I
of the
don't really
series,
mind.
Braun. I don't even think you need to watch it. What
I
do you think,
I remember
Kev?
Bronze. Yeah. Oh, what I
I
think about
played
it?
Halo like 2 times in my whole life, so
Yeah.
Okay.
But do you think is it a skip or is it a watch for you, Kev? After the first two episodes.
I'm still so so okay. So the first episode, like, and I'm gonna throw out fan service out the window because I've never been a fan of fan service because I
Yeah.
feel like if you're just gonna watch something just recreated how the original story was told just on another platform, like that just seems like a waste of time. Like just go watch it on the original platform. Like if you want the exact Halo story to be the exact same, then just go play the games.
Yeah, just go play the game.
know?
Yeah.
So just to get that out the way, like spoiler, Braun, he takes his helmet off in the first episode.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
never
God.
happened.
Huge.
Right. It's never happened. That pissed a lot of people off.
what does he
But
look
for
like
me-
under the helmet?
It looks like a military. He looks like John Berthal. I know it's not John Berthal.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
who it is. It's the asshole rapist cop from fucking Orange is the New Black. That's the
Oh
dude that plays
God!
him. That's the guy
oh
that plays him.
no!
And,
no.
and for some reason in my head, it's like the actor who played Joffrey. I can't unsee this motherfucker as that guy.
Oh, no.
And I hated him as that guy. And I was
He's
like,
trying to resalvage his image. He
and
probably
so, yeah, nah, and I get it. He's put on like fucking 50 pounds of muscle, and he's huge, and he's jacked, and he's a good-looking guy. I'll give him that one, right? He looks a lot better now that he doesn't have the fucking porn stash that he had in Orange is the New Black. And so, like, you know, but like, I still see him as that asshole, and I hated
Yeah.
that guy because he
Yeah.
was like, I mean, like I said, he was a rapist because those girls were the prisoners. He was in a position of power. He was like using that against them, and he was just so skeevy, and he was just such a fucking asshole, and I hated him.
Yeah.
And I didn't even finish Orange is the New Black because it really kind of teetered off. But the first couple seasons was good, and the characters around there was pretty good. And that dude just played that asshole so much. Like I said, it's like he's got the Joffrey syndrome for me.
Oh,
Like
no.
where like
That's
I
so
can't ever see
unfortunate.
him, you know, as something else. And so like when he
Yeah.
took that fucking helmet off, I was just like, this
Did
guy.
you didn't know it was him? You didn't know he was the
no.
oh, man.
Or if I saw him, I think I just didn't notice him from his picture.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't
Right.
until I saw him on the screen that I was like,
You're like, oh,
that fucking guy.
you? Yeah. No, but I think back to your original question. I think like I need to still give it a chance because the first episode, despite what people think, I thought it was pretty lit.
Yeah.
Like
Dude, the
and
first
I,
couple minutes
oh my god,
was like, holy
like
shit.
yeah, and so like the for instance, I brought up fan service because I'm like realistically, and I think Braun even said this when we even talked about when the show was announced, like it's not realistic that they're gonna have this person wearing a helmet the entire show. Like it's not gonna happen. Like because they could just not hire an actor and just put anybody under there.
Yeah,
And
for real.
then, you know, yeah. So that's why Tony Stark had to get the nanobots, you know, so he could just walk around as RDJ, you know, but still be Iron Man. But you know, so I understand like realistically and how much money they spent on. There's no way that they were going to like, okay, we're not like I'm still amazed that the Mandalorian was able to get away with it for as long as they did.
Oh, sorry.
Um,
The Great Pistachio just joined and said, "Wait, what show is this?" Yeah, no, we weren't talking about Moon Knight. Now we're just talking about
we're
Halo.
talking about
before the
Halo.
break.
So if you, yeah.
So yeah,
So yeah, but the first episode was lit. There's some kind of CGI, like it's
Yeah.
weird. Like you kind of see like some of the CGI is really great, and then some of it's kind of bad. So, but
it's
the
a
second
mixed bag on
episode
the
was
CGI because I
Yeah.
really think like it's gotten a lot of hate online, but I was like thinking like, man, at some points though, it's kind of seamless. You know, it's pretty good.
yeah. But I think the second episode was a snooze fest. That was
I fell
episode
asleep.
seemed, that episode was boring as fuck, and I think that was the problem. The first episode was so lit. There's so much adrenaline, and the second episode is just like and I love like dialogue, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not like I need action. No, I like
Yeah.
a good balance. I need, a matter of fact, I need the dialogue so I can care why these people are fighting. But
Exactly.
the dialogue in the second one, there was none of that. Like I didn't care about what the fuck they were saying because they weren't really saying anything.
Yeah, it was dragging.
So
It was
I
dragging.
need to see the third. I've heard the third one was pretty good, and I can see that just being how the second one ended. So I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna be fair with it. Like I like when directors and creatives, they take something that kind of exists and put it through their own lens and perspective, right? Because I think that's how you tell stories, right? Like that's why everyone's got a story on how folklore, a myth went down.
They should all
right?
kind of
So, like,
build and compound. You know.
right. There should be like, for instance, there should be the staples, right? Like Batman losing his parents. That should always be the case. But then everything else can kind of be left up for interpretation, in my opinion. And as long as it's executed right without like compromising the sort of identity of the show or the characters, and I'm all here for it. I think people need to give it a chance. And if you're expecting the show to be Halo verbatim, as with anything, like you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah, 100%.
Except for Sonic with teeth, like that's just weird.
No, I mean, I would say for folks like Braun, like if you've only played Halo like once or twice, I mean, I really don't know if I'd suggest it for you. I think you do. While I don't think the show needs to be fan service, I do think you have to be a fan of Halo to enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that's just the biggest part that I've kind of gotten it so far, and I did fall asleep in the second episode.
At least for right now. Yeah.
So
At
I'm gonna
least
go
for right
back.
now.
I'm gonna go back and finish the second and finish the third. But for right now, like Moon Knight, which was the original thing we were talking about, better
Yeah.
show.
Yes.
It's been a very much better show so far. But
For sure.
well, that'll wrap it up for the first half of the show, guys. Don't go anywhere though, because I mean that would be fucking tragic. Don't do that to us. That's mean.
No.
When we get back, we're gonna be having a deep dive on celebrity attacks, which I mean, shit, everybody's been talking about that, but like we're gonna talk about more than just the slappening. And then we're wrapping things up with the top 10, which it had to be the top 10 fight scenes of all time. So stick around. We've got a lot more show coming up, but we'll be right back. We'll be back in 5. Let's take 5,
We'll be
kid.
back.